Vibe 105, number one for hip hop, R&B, and the culture.
Well, a pleasant good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you are around the world. My name is DJ Wiz inside the Vibe 105 studios, and I'm about to talk to the world-acclaimed Nadine Sutherland. You know, I want to thank you for being a part of this interview here today. You were Jamaica's first childhood star. Many people should know
Jamaica first female child star.
Female.
Yeah, man. Dennis Brown was before, I think Delroy Wilson, Junior Tucker, but the first time a little girl, it was me.
Yes, and people don't know. I mean, you won the Tasty Talent Contest.
I did. I won the Tasty Talent Contest in 1979, and part of my prize was a recording experience with Tuff Gong, and at the helm of Tuff Gong at that time was Bob Marley. So I had an opportunity to work with him. He was the one who facilitated me doing my first song, Starvation on the Land. He was in the studio with me the first time I've ever been in a studio. That was his studio at Tuff Gong. So yeah.
Wow.
That was my start. Quite incredible.
Yes. What an accolade to be able to say you're the first to be inside Tuff Gong, Bob Marley. What the feeling, what was the feeling like? How did the family take it? How did you take it? How did the friends take it? What was going on in the area of that?
For me, I was a kid just going into high school in Jamaica.
Yeah.
Quite never understood the magnitude because singing was such a part of my life. Yeah. But then when I won Tasty Talent Contest, it was 2 radio stations, 1 TV station, 2 newspaper. So it was very limited. So a person winning Tasty would have been the biggest stock. So I was, and I couldn't even process it because it was too much for me as a child. I thought that people were treating me differently, but I never really, I wasn't processing it. Everybody's like, when you met Bob, what was your reaction? I was like, I was an 11-year-old kid, It's after, like growing and seeing the magnitude of this man and, his contribution to the world. Apart from music, I am like, when you go over memory, there's a thing that you go over memory so it can be etched in your mind forever. Yes. That's my experiences with Bob, which was not a lot because, I was an 11-year-old kid and he was a 36-year-old man.
Yes.
So our interactions were very, very minimal. Okay. But the ones that I had with him, I just go over my head. You study at school and you go over the thing.
Yes. You pretty much paved the way for multitudes of females in this industry. I think so because of where you're coming from and what you've achieved to this day. What were some of the most difficult things that you felt you encountered coming through the stages?
Encountering, I think there's still misogyny. I still think there is sexism, but with regards to the music and how they think of female performers, I think it has lessened. Okay. People are investing more, still not enough, but I see people investing in females, and I said something the other day, and sometimes I'm like, I don't know how, like, as I said, music is me. I don't know how I've survived this long in the reggae music industry. There are times when I left, and I went and I pursued a master's thinking that, my life would now be like speaking about the music I once did. And I'm not even deleting that possibility in my life. Right now I'm back, but it was not an easy road, but it could be worse.
We're going to get into Queen in just a minute here, and we're going to lead up into that because you said something. You pursued an educational part of your life, which I so respect, and I think a lot of others should follow. How does that affect your take in the music industry? I mean, a lot of artists, female artists who I've discussed with, they don't get royalties. They haven't been paid for songs or singles that they've done. I don't think a lot of it's their fault. I think maybe it's the surroundings. How is your take on some of these artists that you've seen come up and are now going through the turmoil of not getting royalties, not you know, is it an educational gap? Is it just the demeanor of trying to get in the business?
When I wasn't getting some royalties was just, I was totally unaware of it because nobody told me. I know since, you know, I decided, I don't think even educated myself, but I have access to more resources right now in terms of understanding the music as a business. And I do. So in terms of performing royalties that for many, many years I never knew existed compared to copyright, you know, and now I have the whole gamut. I have, you know, men. And I want to speak about that also because sometimes, you know, it always sounds like we are being sexist and we delete out the good men that are in the industry. And it's something that I also want to put in another narrative.
Yeah.
In terms of when I speak. And I've had men who have educated me and who have said, okay, this is it, this is happening or whatsoever. So I'm very thankful for them. So right now, in terms of, I want to say that going back to school did that. I think it's progress and meeting people who are probably a little not in a generation or a different mindset, who are so much more comfortable in their skin. So it's okay to share those kind of information and wanting people to have access to what is their rights. And I have been lucky enough. Evan from Jams has been a great teacher to me with regards to performance royalties. He taught me that in terms of the world and, you know, accessing it and all of that. So I've had some good men who have taught me. Copyright is out, you know, Ryan Bailey, you know, I've had really great discussions with men who have helped me to become smarter and savvier in the music industry.
You know, final question to you. Queen is now being released. Queen is the new single from Nadine Sutherland. Tell us about Queen. I watched the video about 4 times. I've listened to the song about 8 times. I'm noticing that you're just picking up and making a movement for every female out there. It doesn't matter what culture you are. So you let them know, you let the world know, what is Queen about?
Queen is about people seeing you and thinking that you were handed a silver platter, and not knowing the work that it took, the tears. And I was extremely deliberate in the words that I chose. Queen is about women from all social group, all color, you know, who made sacrifices, who struggled with self-doubt, who struggled with people just writing them off, you know, and they're just like, probably accept it, you know, who struggled with low self-esteem, who struggled with financial, not financial, it's just sometimes we are broke, 0 cents on the bank account. But you found that spark inside to move within and to move with life and just like, okay, something, even when the negatives chatter were around you, you were moving in that. You sometimes not even know, oh yeah, move, but you move and you were able to achieve. The woman from the ghettos in Jamaica who grew eat picnic, and some of them come university degree, and she's like, how did I do that? And then we said, with the grace of God, I did.
Yes, Queen.
A woman, Queen. A white woman or a black woman in the corporate world, in the cities of the world, who basically all along is just like, Karen just broke that glass ceiling and one day something just happened and she stepped through. You know, there's so many stories that Queen captured. I was thinking also, and I wrote it about when I guess I was an elder when I went to the University of the West Indies, and there were some young women, man. And I spoke to some of them, and it was a struggle to get through university. And a lot of them, they were like, I'm doing this for my mother. Like that. I'm getting kind of emotional. I'm trying to make my mother life work, you know? Those are the queens. Those are the stories that you don't really hear about, but I have had access to. And when I wrote it as a duet for me and Marcia, because Marcia Griffiths, because we were supposed to do a duet. She got busy, but the song was like, So I took my own money, produced it, arranged it, I wrote it, sang it, did everything, because I still wanted that song to be out there, and the response has been overwhelming. Women have been calling me and writing me and saying, I listen to Queen every time and I cry. story, you know. It's just making.
It's a song that has now enabled women of every age, every culture, just to, you know, engage. So I think you've done it again. I think you've hit the market again and full speed ahead. And Queen is a song that everybody needs to hear. You know, men need to listen and understand the point of what you're making, and women will just engage into it.
But can I say it might be gender specific, but I'm sure men can hear their story in that song too, because it's a story about overcoming struggles.
Understood.
You know? So it's like, you know, men are saying to me, I know I say Queen still raw. You know,
yeah.
But my feelings because I know I'm good show. It's so funny. But, you know, the machismo of some man, I know I'm good show, and when me hear Queen, you know, touch me. Some secretly tell me that they cry.
So now you have to do Kings. Now you might have to do Kings. You never know.
Yeah, brother, right?
Listen, Miss Sutherland, I just want to thank you for taking the time out to be with us here at VIBE Studios with yours truly, Wiz. And it is an honor.
Thank you for having me. This is a wonderful interview, and I really am appreciative. Big up the Toronto fans, big up the worldwide fan, because I know
the worldwide fans. Yeah, I want to thank you.